You are standing in a crowded room and the air is thick with tension. Suddenly, the room explodes. People are screaming. A guy next to you spills his drink because he's jumping up and down. Everyone is hugging strangers. There are tears in someone's eyes. You look at the television screen and you see a ball go into a net. You look back at the people and you feel absolutely nothing. It is a strange and isolating experience. It is like being the only sober person at a party, or an alien who has just landed on Earth and is trying to understand why the humans are yelling at a rectangle. You might fake a smile, you might clap a little bit just to blend in, but deep down, a question is gnawing at you. What is wrong with me? Why does everyone else seem to have this chip installed in their brain that releases dopamine whenever a team wearing blue beats a team wearing red? And why do you seem to be missing that chip entirely? You have probably heard the jokes. Maybe people call you boring or unpatriotic or just difficult. But here's the thing. Your lack of interest in sports is not a defect. It's actually a fascinating window into your psychology. It reveals how your brain processes empathy and tribalism and excitement differently than the majority of the population. There's a hidden psychology behind why you feel nothing while everyone else is obsessed. And today, we're going to peel back the layers of your mind to figure out exactly which type of non-fan you are. Let us start with the first type of mindset. We can call this the detached anthropologist. Imagine you're sitting on a couch during the biggest game of the year. Your friends are shouting instructions at the players as if the players can actually hear them through the screen. They say things like, "We need to play better defense," or "We're falling apart out there." Notice the word "we." They're not on the team. They're eating nachos. But in their minds, they're a part of the tribe. For you, looking at this scene feels like watching a nature documentary. You see the behavior, but you don't feel the connection. This happens because of a psychological concept called social identity theory. For most people, self-esteem is tied to the groups they belong to. When the team wins, the fan feels like a winner. When the team loses, the fan feels a genuine sense of personal failure. Their brain literally floods with cortisol, the stress hormone, just because a stranger dropped the ball. But if you're the detached anthropologist, your sense of self is constructed differently. You are likely highly individualistic. You do not derive your identity from external groups or tribal affiliations. Your brain does not automatically merge your identity with the collective. When you see a crowd chanting in unison, you don't feel a surge of belonging. You feel a sense of suspicion or confusion. You might look at the screen and just see physics. You see gravity and momentum and skilled athletes doing a job, but you don't see the narrative of good versus evil that everyone else is projecting onto the game. You're immune to the tribal instinct. This can make you feel lonely sometimes, but it also makes you an incredible observer of human nature. While everyone else is lost in the emotion, you're the one seeing the reality of the situation. Then there's the second type. This is the utility pragmatist. You are the person who asks the question that makes sports fans furious. You ask, why does it matter? You look at the energy and time and money invested in following a season, and your brain immediately runs a cost-benefit analysis. You think about the hours spent watching pre-game shows, the emotional energy wasted on worrying about a trade rumor, and to you it just seems like a bad investment. This does not mean you're cold or unfeeling. It means your emotional engagement is strictly tied to utility and tangible impact. You are likely someone who needs a direct line between action and consequence. If you work hard on a project, you get a result. If you exercise, you get stronger. But sports requires you to invest heavy emotion into something you have zero control over. For the utility pragmatist, this lack of control is the deal breaker. Your psychology is driven by agency. You want to be the driver of your own life, not a passenger screaming from the back seat. When you watch a game, you feel a sense of helplessness that others interpret as excitement. They call it suspense. You call it inefficiency. You might find that you enjoy doing sports, but you hate watching them. That's a classic sign of this personality type. You value the experience of doing and moving and competing because it's real, it's happening to you. But watching someone else do it feels like watching someone else eat a delicious meal. It doesn't fill you up. It just leaves you wondering why you're wasting your time. Now, we have to talk about a more sensitive category. This is the echo of exclusion. Sometimes, not caring about sports is not just about logic or tribalism. It's a defense mechanism. Think back to when you were a child. Think about the gymnasium, the smell of rubber and sweat, the sound of a whistle, the agonizing moment when captains were picking teams. For a lot of people, sports was their first introduction to social hierarchy. It was the first time they were told they were not good enough. It was the place where they felt physically vulnerable or publicly shamed. If you were the kid who was picked last or the kid who got hit in the face with a dodgeball while everyone laughed, your brain creates a permanent association. This is basic classical conditioning. The sights and sounds of sports don't trigger excitement for you, they trigger a subtle, low-level anxiety. You might not even realize it's happening. You just know that when you walk into a sports bar or see a game on TV, you feel a sudden drop in energy. You feel a desire to withdraw. This is your mind trying to protect you. It's saying, we are not safe here. We don't belong here. So you develop an armor of indifference. You tell yourself and the world that sports are stupid or pointless. You reject the thing that rejected you first. If this resonates with you, it's important to realize that your dislike is actually a form of self-preservation. It's not that you're incapable of passion, it's just that this specific arena is mined with old emotional explosives that you'd rather not step on. But maybe none of those fit you. Maybe you're the high-sensitivity processor. This is less about the game itself and more about the environment that surrounds it. Sports culture is loud, it's aggressive, it's visually chaotic. There are flashing lights and buzzers and people screaming. If you're a highly sensitive person or someone who gets easily overstimulated, this environment is a nightmare. Your nervous system processes sensory input more deeply than the average person. While others get a rush of adrenaline from the noise, you get a rush of cortisol. You feel overwhelmed. Your brain is trying to filter out all the data, but it's too much. So when you're sitting there stone-faced while everyone else is cheering, it's not because you're a snob, it's because you're shutting down. You're going into energy conservation mode. You literally can't process the emotional highs and lows of the game because you're too busy trying to manage the assault on your senses. And finally, we have the reality anchor. This is a fascinating mindset that is becoming more common. For you, the issue of sports is that it feels manufactured. You look at the fanfare and the dramatic music and the endless statistics, and you see a distraction. You see a circus designed to keep people from looking at their own lives. You are likely someone who craves deep, authentic connection and meaningful conversation. When you're stuck making small talk about a quarterback's knee injury, you feel like your soul is withering away. You want to talk about life. You want to talk about fears and dreams and the universe. To the reality anchor, sports feels like a layer of superficiality that prevents real intimacy. You see people using sports as a buffer. Two friends can sit together for 4 hours watching a game and never actually ask each other how they are really doing. They can channel all their emotions into the game so they never have to share their emotions with each other. You find this frustrating. You crave the real thing. You want to strip away the distraction and get to the core. So when you refuse to engage with the game, you're actually making a subconscious stand for authenticity. You're refusing to participate in the great distraction. It's interesting to observe how people react to you when you don't care. Have you noticed that people get offended? They don't just accept it, they try to convert you. They say, you just haven't watched the right team yet, or you just need to understand the rules. They do this because your indifference threatens their reality. If you can be happy and complete without this thing that they think is essential, then maybe it's not as essential as they think. Your lack of reaction holds up a mirror to their obsession. It makes them feel silly for screaming at a television, so they try to pull you in to validate their own investment. But here's the truth. You don't need to be pulled in. The world needs people who don't care about sports. Think about it. Evolutionarily, if every single human was obsessed with the tribal war game, who would be watching the perimeter? Who would be tending to the fire? Who would be inventing the wheel while everyone else was throwing rocks? We need the people who stand apart from the crowd. We need the observers. We need the people who can keep a cool head when everyone else is losing theirs in a frenzy of emotion. Your ability to detach is a superpower. It allows you to see things objectively. It allows you to save your energy for problems that actually impact your reality. So the next time you're at a Super Bowl party or a World Cup gathering and you feel that familiar sense of isolation, take a deep breath. Look around the room. Look at the joy and the anger and the madness. You can appreciate it for what it is. It's a human ritual. It's a way for people to feel connected. But you don't have to fake it. You don't have to force a cheer when the ball goes in the net. You can just sip your drink and smile. You can be the anthropologist on Mars. You can be the calm in the storm. There's nothing wrong with your brain. In fact, it might be working exactly the way it was designed to. You have freed up a massive amount of mental hard drive space that others have filled with statistics and team colors. The question is, what are you doing with all that free space? Maybe you're building something. Maybe you're dreaming something. Or maybe you're just enjoying the silence while everyone else is screaming. So I have to ask, which one are you? Are you the rational pragmatist who thinks it's a waste of time? Are you the one with the bad memories from gym class? Or are you just someone who prefers the quiet? Think about the last time you faked enthusiasm for a game. Why did you do it? Was it to fit in? Was it to make someone else happy? It's worth asking yourself why we feel the need to perform an emotion we don't feel. Maybe the next time the room explodes, you'll just sit there and be okay with feeling nothing. Because in a world that's constantly demanding your attention and your outrage and your excitement, there's something quietly powerful about simply opting out. There's a freedom in realizing that you do not have to join the tribe to be human. You can find your own meaning. You can find your own games to play. Or you can realize that life is enough of a game on its own without watching someone else play one on TV. If you found yourself nodding along to this, maybe it is time to stop apologizing for your lack of team spirit. Maybe your spirit is just busy doing other things. I am curious to hear your side of this. What is the most ridiculous reaction you have received when you told someone you do not watch sports? Do people look at you like you have three heads? Do they try to explain the offside rule to you as if that will magically fix your brain? Take a moment to reflect on your own nature. Your indifference is a part of who you are. Own it. And hey, if you ever need someone to sit in silence with while the rest of the world goes crazy, I am right there with you.